on parade. A pictorial review of events in business and industry, produced each week by the National Association of Manufacturers. Part of a man-made hill of sulfur being blasted in Texas for shipment to all parts of the world. Hard to realize while looking at such a quantity of almost pure sulfur that this is one of the most critical materials now urgently needed. Despite greatly increased production by our sulfur industry, demand for the element for every conceivable type of manufacture continues to grow. Sulfur is not found lying in huge piles on the ground, of course, so let's go back a bit and see where it did come from. Far below ground in Texas and Louisiana, there are deposits called sulfur domes. Into such a dome, a well is sunk, and down into the well will go several pipes, one inside another. The well is much like an oil well, but bringing out the sulfur is somewhat more complicated than bringing out oil, for it's a solid under no pressure. When the hole is dug, down it through separate pipes will be pumped hot water and hot air from a steam generating station. The water melts the sulfur, the air causes it to froth, and up it comes through a third pipe. From several wells, the liquid sulfur is led through steam-heated pipes to a relay station and on to collection vats, where it's poured out to solidify in the open air. Continuing research by the nation's sulfur producers has uncovered improvements on the fresh process of mining, so the previously untappable sources of the precious material are now being made available. Sulfur occurs everywhere in nature in combination with other elements, but the Texas-Louisiana area is one of the few on Earth in which it occurs, and there are no known deposits of any size behind the Iron Curtain. When a layer has solidified, the sides are raised, and another layer is poured for millions of years on sulfur to serve us in many ways.
Most of the people of the world have never had freedom, or they have surrendered it. So today, the world looks to America, where we have the strength which only individual freedom can give, for help and support. If we are to continue forward, all do our part to preserve our basic way of living, our sense of individual self-reliance and responsibility. It can only be accomplished if each one of us maintains unity and teamwork among all groups in this country. Jantzen Mills in Portland, Oregon, a company that manufactures long-line sportswear, but is best known for the product here being redesigned to keep in step with next year's fashions. Only on a live model can the designer get a true idea of what her handiwork will look like. But going back even further into the creation of the swimsuit, we find balls of fine woolen strands about to be dyed before being made into yarn. The method used in dyeing the balls, known as tops, is to pump the dye solution under pressure into the center of each top rather than merely by... Now it'll be unwound, washed, rinsed, and dried. Then started through a series of operations that open up the fibers, blend them for uniformity, and draw them up to the proper degree of fineness. Only then are they ready to be twisted into yarn. Wool used in swimsuits has to be of a very special type. It has to be fine enough to be soft to the skin, yet coarse enough so the garment will hold its shape, despite the stress and strain it will undergo while submerged in water. The yarn is made into cloth on some of the finest machines in the country. The fabric that emerges is laid out in multiple layers on long tables, where the component parts of a number of swimsuits are cut simultaneously. Actually, swimsuits of a particular style and color are not made up in vast quantities like other garments, say men's shirts. A work order here usually runs to no more than 1 or 2 dozen. After the last sewing operation, the swimsuit will be stretched on a wire frame and pressed into its final shape. The diving girl happens to be one of the 10 best-known trademarks in the entire world. They're getting prettier every year. The swimsuits, that is. And I guess the girls are, too.
A railroad yard, like hundreds scattered from coast to coast, to handle the switches, the transshipments necessary for moving the products of thousands of factories to millions of consumers everywhere. Some of these cars will head east from here, some west, or north, or south. The railroads crisscross the nation, reaching into every community. And it's an amazing job they do of getting the shipments to their proper destinations. But here are a couple of Union Pacific officials working to make it an even better job. Working to eliminate damage like this, caused by poor packaging, improper stowing of cargo, or too heavy impact when 2 freight cars come together. A freight car with one side made of plexiglass is touring the UP's 10,000 miles of line to show yard workers and the road's other employees the effect of switching and other jolts on a boxcar's load. The tour also serves as a test of various ways of securing a load, since the plexiglass side allows observers to see exactly what happens when the car hits another. Now, for a demonstration. At 7 miles an hour, a sudden stop shifts the drums 47 inches. A graphic demonstration to the railroad men that the watchword must be, easy does it.
Last year, 50% more physically handicapped employees were placed in jobs than in the year before. A great number of these employees work in and around our nation's largest industrial areas. Properly fitted to the job to be done, thousands of employers have found that these workers make excellent employees, that there is less absenteeism, and often their performance is equal to or better than able-bodied employees. Employers all over the country recognize that to hire the physically handicapped is good business.
How's this for a lumber yard? The striking exterior, like the beautifully paneled interior, which boasts, among other things, the most expensive telephone booth in the world, is in perfect keeping with the sort of wood sold here at J.H. Monteath Lumber Company in the Bronx. Wood like that used in the office of M.H. Dayton, the company's president. Imported woods, rare and beautiful, and in many cases expensive, at least when compared to the more common domestic varieties. Here's a sizable bundle of lumber. How are they going to get it out to the truck waiting in the street? Quite simple when it's balsa wood, one of the lightest woods on earth. There are more than 25,000 species of wood known to man, and while no company can keep all of them in stock, this one does its best to fill the orders. At the other extreme from balsa is lignum vitae, wood of life, what's worth its weight in gold. And its weight is considerable, like its hardness that'll turn a 10-penny nail. Brazilian rosewood, ebony, teak, Japanese oak, just a few of the exotic woods handled by these experts every day. Some orders they fill run to many thousands of board feet. Others, like those of amateur and professional wood carvers, are very small, but at the same time very special. The grain should follow the contours of the projected sculpture. One of the perils of this business lies in the fact that some woods, like zebra wood from Africa, smell so terrible it takes a mill hand with a strong stomach to stay around when it's being sawed. Much of the imported lumber is peeled into veneer at the firm's mills in New Jersey and Virginia for use in fine furniture, paneling, boats, airplanes, and other quality products. This is fine mahogany, of which Monteath processes several thousand tons a year. These are men in a business with a lot of history behind it, and with the search for new woods, for new tasks being pressed constantly, they expect there's a lot of history yet to be written.